Hey everybody, Stu Smith here going live. Hope you guys are well. Today it is Tuesday. That means we are doing a CSS critique show. But before we do, let's talk a little bit about momentum. And momentum is key to everything because it is consistency at its rawest form, right? So whether you are trying to be a better swimmer or you're just trying to build good habits, add fitness to your life, momentum is the key. Because I will tell you, there are days when you wake up and you don't feel like going to the gym or you don't feel like getting cold and going to work. But, it's January and that's the way it is. And you got to get used to it and you got to do it, even though you don't feel like it. And if you do enough of those, keep moving, even when you don't feel like it, that's probably where the magic is made, if you think about it. And you find that because you do that, because you work out even when you don't feel like it, because you study even when you don't feel like it and tired, you get a little tougher, right? It builds resilience, it builds mental toughness, it builds discipline. So momentum is key to everything. So when you feel like you don't feel like moving, move anyway. Now, if you're sick, that's a completely different animal. um, for instance, if you have a head cold, you're probably pretty good. I have a little head cold right now, a little sinusy, and still working out. Not a problem. Cough up some post nasal drip, spit it out, keep on moving. However, if it starts getting into my lungs and you have a fever and all of those little things, your stomach upset, feel like you're going to throw up, you might need to shut it down a little bit just because you're going to, one, spread it to everybody, and two, just aggravate your bronchial tubes. Next thing you know, you've got given yourself a case of bronchitis just because you're out there huffing and puffing and aggravating those bronchial tubes. So I have done that before. That's the reason why I am telling you this. So momentum is key to success. Now let's apply it to the CSS because I'm going to show you some videos here where people are losing momentum or they're wasting momentum. That's a little bit different animal. And usually it is in the glide phase. So when you're gliding, you don't want to be doing extra movements. Just hold the glide, tight streamline. Next thing you know, you're able to glide at a yard per second because you have a powerful kick, able to glide yard per second for 2 to 3 seconds. That's a good amount of distance of not really doing anything. But if you're adding flutter kicks, if you're shortening that glide and pulling too quick, you're just wasting momentum. But if you're over gliding and going 4 or 5 seconds, you just stop dead in the water. That's losing all your momentum. You got to recreate that on the next step. Another way to do it is plow the surface, whether that's with your head or your shoulder. Those are reasons why we tend to tilt over a little bit whenever we're gliding. It keeps us close to the surface without plowing the water with that shoulder popping out. Because as you know, submarine travels faster underwater than it does on top of water. Surface tension, it is key. All right, so I got a bunch of videos I want to show, at least 5, maybe more. I just didn't do a count. But before we do, let's take this one question. Alex asks, who are the best mentalities or leaders you have heard of in Tier 1 or Tier 2, enlisted or commander? And oh, man, countless ones. I don't want to give any names or anything, but those guys, some of those dudes are incredible people. Some of the smartest people I've ever met, are leaders in that world. But on the same side, some of the smartest people I've ever met are Marine Corps guys too. Just well-read, well-versed, skilled in their craft. And hey, anyway, that's a hard one to answer. There's countless master chiefs, chiefs, captains, commanders, a whole bunch of them. Are body count builder, 8 count bodybuilders better than burpees for cardio strength build? Yeah, I don't know. Um, I would say they're very similar to the burpee. I think the burpee is faster. Um, 8 count bodybuilder, you know, I think works hips a little bit differently, a different angle. So you might have that going for you with the open close. But they're very similar. Um, I wouldn't I wouldn't classify them as one's better than the other. I would say do this: do 100 of burpees and 100 8 count bodybuilders, and tell me how you feel. Which one do you think was better or harder? What do you mean by better? Do you think the RDAC is worth it? Yeah, I know those RDAC guys. I mean, they treat you like bud students over there. Um, I will say the difference between those guys and me. And we've sent guys up to the RDAC to do their exposure weekends. They have a great obstacle course up there. Is when I send my guys up there, they get exposed to what it feels like to be treated like a bud student, with instructors yelling at you, negative feedback, stuff like that. I'm a coach. I'm not an instructor. In fact, I find it exhausting to be an instructor and yell at people for no reason. I'd rather correct a form and make them faster versus yell at them and tell them they're stupid and slow. But both have applications in this process. You don't need to do it all the time, but being exposed to it to know that you can mentally handle it and emotionally handle it is not a bad deal. RDAC is Recruiting District Assistance Council up in New England area, Connecticut, I think. Captain Bissett runs that program up there along with some other former SEALs, and they have a good program. Should a 500-meter swim be freestyle or CSS? Depends on what you're taking. If you're going in the Navy, it has to be 500-yard swim, has to be CSS or breaststroke. You can't do freestyle for certain jobs. If you're going Air Force, 500-meter test for the IFT, I would go freestyle because, one, it's faster and it's easier to learn. But if you like the CSS, do it. If you're fast at the CSS, do it. All right. Let's see. Let's go ahead and show some videos here. Let me share my screen. Pull this up. Make sure I'm on the right page. All right, here we go. So I think the first one I had, that was last week. That's this week. Let's see up here. Turn down the volume. All right, you guys can see this. So let's kick off the wall. Not bad. Double arm pull. Could be a little tighter on that recovery and glide position. Top arm, bottom arm. Kick, hold that glide. Top, bottom. I like this. 1 Mississippi, 2, Could hold the glide a little longer. See that? You're not gliding long. So you're in the classification of wasting momentum. You could probably get another yard and a half easy with your current stroke and kick. Top arm, bottom arm. All right, switch sides. Let's see how this looks. Still no glide. That's the biggest problem here. You just have no glide. Top arm, bottom arm. Kick, 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi, pull. See where you're missing out on glide time? Now, this weak side may not be that good of a glide for you, but it's not horrible either. My advice is just stay on your strong side. This looks a lot better than that weak side, but you got to practice your weak side with fins. So overall, not bad. I think it could be better. But as with anything, we all could be better. So just hold that glide, and I think you're going to see bigger results out of that. All right, let's see. Let me go down to the one I just got here. Save this. All right, so let me share my screen. All right, here we go. Next one. What we got here? You guys can see it. Come on. You guys have been enough with me enough for this. Good glide. I like the breaststroke kick out. Boom. Top, bottom, kick and glide. What's he doing? One, he's not gliding with that top arm, and he's popping his head up way too much. So basically what this guy is doing, notice his top arm never even goes higher than his head. He's doing the elementary side stroke with a horrible head pop to breathe. Now, if you just did, how many strokes was that? Good Lord, that made me tired just watching. All right, let's count these strokes. So 1 stroke, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Yeah, that's not working for you. That is the elementary side stroke that you could be a lot better, one, with gliding longer if you want to do this one better. And you can't pop up your head, because every time you pop up your head, your feet are going to drop. Now you're kind of dragging your whole body through the water versus actually spearing the water. Yeah, by the time you get done with a 50, you shouldn't be in the 20s with your stroke count. So we got to fix that. My advice is actually watch some of these CSS videos, because that elementary side stroke's not working for you. You can try it. You can keep trying it, but hold the glide longer after you kick. You got to give it a couple of minutes. Yeah, he's not slow, but it's unsustainable. That number of strokes is unsustainable. When there's a guy next to you is doing 5 or 6 strokes per length, and you're doing 12 to get across the pool, guess who's working twice as hard? And that adds up. I mean, every length you're doing 6 more strokes. So by the end of 20 lengths, you're over 120, maybe 150 strokes to get across the pool. That many arm pulls and kicks, exhausting. You won't recover from that until the next day, much less the next events of the PST. So my advice, take out this elementary side stroke and learn how to do the CSS, or keep your head down when you breathe and glide longer on this elementary side stroke. I think you should learn CSS. I think there's a reason why hardly anybody ever does the elementary side stroke anymore. It's because the CSS is better. It's faster, more efficient for most people. About the only reason I would do this elementary side stroke like this is if I had full camis on and I wouldn't lift my head up at all. I just keep my head right here the whole time and just inhale and exhale the whole time, because you're plowing the surface anyway with all those clothes. Yeah, you can dip your head under a little bit during some glide time, but there's not much glide time when you're wearing clothes. So there's a lot we can unwrap with this one. But just know there's a difference between elementary side stroke and CSS. I have seen guys do the elementary side stroke in 6:30 on a 500, but they did it in like 4 strokes. They're just super streamlined, not much work, and they're just gliding, super gliding. So you can do that. You can get better for sure. All right, let's see what else we got. Let's try this one. I think this is a new one from today as well. All right, you guys see that? Let me take off the sound. What we got here? So we got kick off the wall, double arm pull, good glide. Could be a little tighter on that glide position. Not gonna lie. Kick off, hold that glide. Okay, this is where momentum comes in. Just wasting momentum, because right here you could be holding that glide for 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi, pull. Instead of doing extra strokes, you can decrease your stroke count by holding that glide just a little bit longer. But this looks good. Good double arm pull. Just hold that little double arm pull glide a little better. Just be a little tighter with your arms and shoulders. Top arm, bottom arm, kick. Not a bad weak side either. It could be a little better. Did I show this one already? I don't remember. This is definitely a loss of momentum. All right, let's see what else we got. Because I think I might have made a mistake and showed one twice. Let's see what else. I think this one. Okay, I don't think I've shown this one. Here we go. So we're going to share my screen again. Turn down the volume. All right, what we got here? So we got a good kick off the wall. Nice streamline. That's tight. That's tight. Board shorts, not good. All those flutter kicks, not needed. Top arm, bottom arm. Yeah, you got a really big bottom arm pull, which you might want to consider. I like this glide time, though. 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi pull. But you got a really big bottom arm pull that you could shorten up. Just make it more of a skull like this, like you're doing breaststroke. So freestyle with the top arm, freestyle catch. Bottom arm can be more of a breaststroke catch versus breaststroke skull versus bringing it all the way down. Now you got to bring it all the way up, and it just gives you a weird pause right there. See that? Complete loss of momentum there. Like you just stopped in the water, because now you got to do that long bottom arm pull, which isn't very effective. And you got to turn it into a tight recovery, which you do. Imagine making this a little shorter process where you just do a breaststroke skull out of it, and it will tighten up some of that pausing that's occurring, loss of momentum. Take out those flutter kicks too, not needed. All right, let's see what else we got. I'm just going to show all these while I'm here. Boom. I don't think I've shown this one. Nope, I did not. I think we might have a winner here. I think. I was real happy with this one. I think I saw this one. All right, let's see what we got here. We have good kick off the wall. A little bit of, probably get a little deeper. Notice that little butts popping out. I like the shorts though. Nice streamline. All right, so we got a good top arm, bottom arm. See that bottom arm looks more like a skull there, breaststroke skull, versus a big arm that goes all the way to your pants. This is a good glide though. 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi, 3 Mississippi. Yeah, nice. 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi, pull. Perfect. That's good. That's good timing. No loss of momentum on this one. Let's see if he does the pull out. Nope, skips the pull out. My only advice here is you might want to roll over a little bit on your belly just to grab water better. Like that top arm almost skims the surface, and a couple times I think it did. And, you can grab deeper water by just rolling over, not all the way on your belly, but at least 45-degree angle. Only problem with this one, this is a 50-meter swim. Took him about a minute to do. So somewhere he's losing time. It could be, I don't know. This looks pretty good. I have to get back with this guy, see if this is a 25-meter pool or bigger, because this looks really, really smooth. Let me see when he starts. No, he starts right at 1 minute, but I'm not sure why this is. Oh, okay, there we go. Okay, so this is about a 55-second. Okay, that makes sense. 55 seconds in a 50-lap pool, or a 50-meter pool, 54 yards and 50 meters. So, yeah, that looked like a yard per second to me. All right, not bad. So I think that was all the ones I wanted to show you guys today. So I'm opening up for more questions if you have them. Let's see. I'm just going to start from the bottom. Um, start from the bottom and work my way up over here on Instagram. By the way, if you guys over here on Instagram are have to go, can't see the whole thing, just move it over to YouTube, and I store these over on YouTube every day. So they got a every Monday, Tuesday live Q&A show is over on Instagram. They don't stay up as reels over here on Instagram. If you have time later, do you have any advice for pain when running? Location is under the ribs. Could be your typical running cramp. A lot of times that happens. One or two reasons. One, you might be a little dehydrated. You cramp. Calves, ribs, arms, whatever. The other one is more likely the issue where your stomach is just moving around and it pulls on these connective tissue inside your abdomen, and that could be it. Or you just could have a bruise under your ribs that you don't realize that happened and it just hurts. So what do you do about it? Try not to run on a full stomach and see what that happens. And if you find yourself bouncing a lot when you run, see if you can kind of run from the waist down a little bit, be a little smoother with your running so your head's not coming up and down like that. Because if your head's bouncing, your stomach's bouncing. And whatever's in your stomach is also bouncing. So that could be an issue. But yeah, do a couple tests. See if it's a bouncing issue or you just might be overhydrated a little bit, full stomach full of food and water, and then you go running, not necessarily full, but halfway full, right? That's my guess. But you can Google it too, and you'll see like 5 different things that it could be. My advice is try to rule some of those out. I was in a car accident back in 22. Now one on December 24th, both resulting in lower leg pain. Lower back pain. Any chance that'll get me some buffering when trying to join this December? I'm not sure what you mean by buffering. I mean, any injury that you went to a doctor for is going to cause red flags. And those red flags will need to be looked into, need to be waived if it's an injury like a surgery or a broken bone. All of those are waiverable issues, most of them. So I wouldn't sweat it. But my advice is if you're still having lower back pain, you don't have any business. Well, I take that back. If you're meaning December of 25 coming up, 12 months from now, then yeah, hopefully you are well prepared, and that's plenty of time to get prepared for whatever job you're preparing for. But if you have lower back that's preventing you from doing sit-ups and lifting and running or anything like that, fireman carries, farmer walks, then you got a problem. Anything that's stopping you from being able to train is something you got to look into. That might require physical therapy to help and smart training so you don't re-injure it. Got 843 on my 500 because of your great explanation of the technique. Nice work. I'm glad that worked for you. All right, looks like currently overcoming flu and cold. What is your protocol for getting back into the groove of training? Focus athlete, so trying to smartly get back into running. Just smartly get back into running. I think you nailed it. Don't start off where you left off. My advice maybe is if you haven't been running in over a week, maybe start your first day off with a mobility day where you do a little bike for 5 minutes, followed by some stretching and foam rolling. Just massage tooling, anything tight. Then if that's feeling good after a couple of sets of 5-minute bike, 5-minute stretch, massage, try a 5-minute run. See how that feels. That's feeling good. Try another 5-minute run, another 5-minute run. And then at the end of the hour, you might have accumulated 15 minutes of running. Give that as sort of an assessment. And now my advice is the first week back, just start off at 50% of where you were. If you weren't really that sick, maybe 75%. And then use this week as kind of like that transition week to get back to where you left off. Maybe week 2, you go a little bit higher. Week 3, you're back to 100%. That's a logical way to do it. Okay. What workouts would you recommend for building shoulders to protect them from getting hurt? Well, shoulders, oh man, the shoulder is the most versatile joint we have in our body. Think about it. It can up, down, left, right, circle. It does everything. But with that versatility, it is susceptible to injury very easily. So multiple movements, not just strong overhead presses, but lightweight shoulders, lateral raises, internal rotation, external rotation. My advice would be where I learned some of my best shoulder routines were after a shoulder injury and working with physical therapists. Go on YouTube, look on a physical therapy shoulder routine, and you'll see all kinds of great stuff, like just walking up a wall to rubber bands, internal, external rotation, rubber bands overhead, rubber bands out to the side, throwing, right? I've seen a lot of people injure themselves just because they threw for no reason at all. So if you don't need to throw, then don't. But it's good to throw just so you don't get injured in case you have to throw something. You might have to throw a hand grenade. Last thing you want to do is like rip out your rotator cuff because you threw for the first time in 5 years. So that's how you do it. All right, let's see. If you have time later, do you have, I did that one. Okay. And does 7 to 8 weeks of seal qual before buds do a job of preparing you for buds? No. I'm worried about losing progress through standard Navy boot camp. And you will. That's why you go into boot camp like peaked out. Like there's no taper before boot camp. Boot camp is the taper, right? And use that to any time that you have, you add in extra workouts. Be smart about it. Lots of squats, lots of wall sits, lunges, burpees, push-ups, flutter kicks, sit-ups. All of those things are good. Just give yourself an upper body day and a lower body day. Crank out reps all day. Anytime you have a minute, do 20 push-ups. That's the way you do it. Then you have another question here. We've heard surfing practice is helpful for those interested in what you did out of the Naval Academy. Is that true? Surfing. Would a person be fine without experience in terms of comfort in that type of water? Yeah, I will say this. Surfing is great. We had a couple surfers in our buds class, and they were like water kings. Like water never fazed them. So there is a level of water comfort, especially if you're a California surfer and you're used to that cold water. It's not a bad idea, be honest with you. I never really thought of it as part of a preparation program, but really anything that gets you in the water, whether you're swimming or surfing or scuba diving, all of those are great pre-training ideas. That's not just training. All right, let's see. Just purchased advanced running program already at 25, 30 miles per week. Pace been consistent with some improvement as I go. Would you suggest following it or make adjustments? I would make adjustments. No need to drop it down to 15 miles a week, which I think is where that starts, maybe 20. Can't remember. So you can either start where it's at 25 to 30 or just add mileage, and you add 5 miles a week to the workout, and you can make an LSD run for 5-6 miles just to get back to where you are if you want. Add one more run to it. All right, let's see. Here's a good question. You mentioned working out when you don't feel like it, which I am an advocate of. Do you ever experience burnout from that? How do you deal with it? And is this where block periodization comes in? You know what? I would say yes. I like to change up my workouts quite regularly. Not only do I like to change up sets and reps and exercises, but choreography of those same old exercises is something refreshing versus doing the same old workout. I think that will help alleviate some of the burnout. But yes, the other side of the equation also has to be really nailed down as far as your recovery. If you're going to push the fitness side and do things like yesterday, for instance, I shoveled snow for like 13,000 steps on my phone told me that's how much I shoveled, pushing snow with this snow sled, basically, or snow plow. Great workout, but I definitely felt it. And I went to bed early after having done a workout too on top of it. So yeah, I mean, you can definitely overdo the fitness side easily, but as long as you are really nailing down the sleep, the nutrition, the hydration, the electrolytes, all of those very important things to recover, you're going to be okay, right? And change it up every now and then too. Like I try to have different quarterly goals than the previous quarter. Similar, strength, power, speed, agility is what we're focusing on right now. But we're trying to maintain some endurance and muscle stamina with some warm-ups of cows, some cool down with cardio, still swim. But we're trying to put on some strength, maybe even some mass for the young, skinnier guys. But this summer and spring, we will change it up and do a little bit less weight, more repetitions, more mileage. And that for me, I've been doing that for 25 years now. 25 years. Started when I was 30. And life-changing. Highly recommend it. It doesn't have to be my programs. If you like a lift cycle, do it in the winter. If you like a cows and cardio cycle, do that in the spring and summer. Next thing you know, you've kind of diversified your training in a way where when you come back to lifting, you now have this added endurance where a set of 5x5, it may tax you strength wise, but not like crush you to where like the workout's over. So there you go. Let's see here. Looks like I got all the questions answered here. Showed all my videos. So if you guys have any more questions, send them. I'm going to do this little closing here. So I appreciate you guys watching and sending in questions. You guys give me ideas for articles. But if I missed your question, I'm sorry. Didn't see it. Just email me, stu@stewsmith.com. If you come up with a question later on, send it. Happy to answer it. I usually send in questions. Sometimes I'll write an article inside that email just because it was such a good question that I elaborated like I was writing an article. Then I cut and paste it, put it up in the article section. So feel free to ask questions. I'm happy to answer them. If I can't answer them, I'll tell you. But also check out stewsmithfitness.com. Tons of articles over there, books, ebooks, programs, even a membership page where you get to do the workouts that we do every day, as well as a beginner program that some of my beginners do each week. So check out all those options over there at Stu Smith Fitness. But if you're looking to save some money, Live15 coupon code will save you 15% on any of those books and ebooks. So I do appreciate your time. Looks like I got all these questions answered. All right, folks. I will see you guys next week. You guys have a good week. Have a good one.